Last night I slept with air conditioning on, and I think I stay in a very humid part of the world right now. So, but by the time I woke up in the morning, I had like almost 10 or 15 liters of water in the collector bucket outside of my air conditioning. And that makes you know that there is so much air, so much water in this air we are breathing. Today's guest on Green Tech Pulse is taking advantage of that in a very brilliant way. And he's Jeffrey Szur, the founder of Altitude Water. And today he's going to share his innovation, his technology, his green tech with us. And I hope to learn a lot as usual from this episode. So welcome to the show.
Peter, thank you so much for having me. I love what you do in educating the people of what's going on in the green tech space, and I'm honored to be able to be on here and talk about my technology.
Thank you so much. So now tell me, I think I just talked about the AC because I've been noticing this for a very long time. Most times, these days I use the water to water my plants. Before I didn't, it was just wasted. So what inspired you to go into this, into harnessing atmospheric water?
We've been doing this for the past 15 years. About 15
Oh,
years ago, my father and I both sold our businesses and said, okay, what do we want to do when we grow up? And we believe that water was going to be the next oil. We had, researched a lot of different things, and we've spent, the past century going by the engineer's creed, which is the solution to pollution is dilution. Take all these bad chemicals, put it in the body of water, and dilute it down to what the government tells you is safe to drink. And just like anything else, kicking the can down the road, eventually all you're going to do is stub your toe or break your toe. So we saw some pretty smart people like retired three-star General Russell Honore, the UN as well, saying that if wars are fought, they're going to be fought over water because it is such an important resource. And like you said, it's you walk under an air conditioner, you get dripped on by the water, and we got introduced to atmospheric water generators, and we formed a distributorship, what we call the first generation of atmospheric water generators, which were made out of China, using reverse osmosis and filtration to keep the water pure. Because the important thing, and I enjoyed talking to you before we started, is nature does things the right way, right? We were talking
yeah,
about gardening and the cycle
yeah,
there, but the water cycle, we have the same, I keep saying it on different podcasts, we have the same amount of water as when the earth was created, right? So how the earth and how nature purifies this water is through the water cycle. So when evaporation happens, all of those nasty chemicals are left behind, and it's just water that rises up from, and everyone says, well, how do you know that? Well, 90% of our evaporation comes from the ocean, right? Have you ever had
yeah.
a salt storm? No. So everything's left behind. And then when it condensates, again, when water goes from a gas form to a liquid form, it's pure. Okay, there's no chemicals in it. And think about how we distill water. We boil it, we bring it up to steam, the gas form, we capture that steam and bring it down. So the beautiful thing about atmospheric water generation is we're starting with pure water. So now the uh, how you keep that water pure, because one of the properties of water is it wants to grow bacteria, right? If you store it
Yeah.
in something, eventually, the difference between a mountain stream that's running versus a lake that's sitting there and growing algae. So how do you keep that water pure? And that's the difference of when we started altitude water is using ozone as our purification method. Because while reverse osmosis, and I speak at a lot of different conferences, and they're like, well, RO is a competitor of yours. I'm like, reverse osmosis is an important piece of the puzzle to solve the water problems, but it's not a great application in our systems because once the water goes through the filters. Number one, you lose a lot of water with reverse osmosis. Number two is once the water goes through those filters, you still have a tube that's taking it from the filters to where you have to dispense the water.
Yeah.
That tube will grow biofilm. Okay, so what we found in when we were selling the first generation is after about a year, 2 years, the total dissolved solids started going through the roof, and we're like, "How is this happening?" We're starting with pure water. Why is this happening?
Yeah.
And we started doing the research and breaking down the machine, and we found all of the biofilm in the tubing. So we said, well, this isn't going to work. So we found ozone again. Like I said, nature does it the best. And ozone is a natural gas. It's what protects our planet. It is also one of the most powerful water purifiers out there. It's like 1,900 times more powerful of a water purifier than chlorine, and it's natural. So we started in Trinidad doing research and development at an air conditioning facility back in 2008, 2009. With the economic downturn, they had stopped one of their small AC lines because China was flooding the market with 1 ton
Hmm.
and lower compressors. And we started working with the ozone. And the beautiful thing is, the water is the purification method. So we inject ozone into the water and circulate it throughout our closed loop system so that all of the tubing is basically never being able to grow that bacteria. So what makes ozone such a powerful water purifier is it's O3, right? So
Yeah.
oxygen's O2. The third oxygen molecule is what's known as a radical. So it detaches anything that's not supposed to be in the water, whether it's metals, whatever it is, it
Hmm.
detaches and oxidizes. It basically puts a hole in that. So uh, that putting that in the water keeps not only the water pure, but it keeps our machine pure. So that's and we have the patent on that, and that's one of the things that makes our company more so unique in regards to atmospheric water generators, which is great in a small home and office unit, but where today I just saw pictures of my main guy. He's in Paris on his way to Yaoundé, Cameroon, and then from
Cameroon.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, they're going to Maka, and we've done a project there. We're providing 1,000 gallons of water for a village. So
Wow.
if you're talking about a home and office unit that makes set between 7 and 15 gallons a day, not being able to reverse osmosis to keep the water pure. When you're talking about 1,000 gallons a day for a village, it's really important. And same thing with our disaster relief trailers. So we believe that, and again, everything we do, we make water from the air. We tap into nature's water cycle. Everything we do has to do with nature because, as I said to you before, nature does it right. It heals itself. It provides us everything we need to survive. This planet was created with a purpose, and the purpose was to be able to give us the things that we need to survive. And we see this green tech space and what you're doing and educating people that, hey, we have everything right here in nature. Let's stop messing it up. Let's stop
Yeah.
polluting it. It provided for our ancestors for thousands of years. So let's get back to the basics. And so that's what we're trying to do at Altitude Water. As you can tell, I get excited talking about my technology and go on and on.
Yeah.
But that's the foundation for what we do. And then our filtration process, we have just a carbon filter that takes the dead organisms out that the ozone kills. And then one of our other filters is actually putting stuff back into the water. So when rainwater or water that from nature is usually generally acidic, it's usually about 5.6 to 6.0 on the pH scale, which is seven's neutral, so it's acidic water. A lot of people want to drink alkaline water these days. Lot of different theories on that. We don't get into that. We give the customers what they want. So what
Yeah.
we do in order to raise the pH, we have two choices: ionization, which is moving all the electrons around and raising the pH, or mineralization. And we chose mineralization. So one of our filters actually puts calcium, magnesium, other minerals,
Mm.
depending. We just are coming out with a 10 pH filter. So with our filters, you can either have a 7.8 to 8.2 or
Mm.
10.1. And again, by nature, by the
Oh.
things that the earth gives us, is put a filter on. So we always joke around with all those filters they're trying to take out of the water. And number one is never in our water because we're making it from the air. Number two is one of our filters is actually putting things from nature back into our water to raise the pH level.
And I think this thing you said about which we talked about before we started about nature doing it the right way. It makes it interesting because when you mentioned ozone, I remember when I first moved to the UK in 2013. I remember drinking the tap water. No, 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 no. I remember when I moved there, I always had my stomach make noise for the first few weeks. And I'm wondering what's the problem. And I kept isolating till I realized it was the tap water I was drinking. So I moved there for school. Fortunately, what I studied was part of what I studied was wastewater treatment. And I realized they put all sorts of things in the water, chlorine, this. And probably by the time it gets to me, it has a lot of things that I'm probably not supposed to be drinking. So once I stop drinking the tap water, that stops. So I think, yeah, something like this is something that can solve that problem, that sort of problem.
Yeah, it amazes me with bottled water is the number one beverage sold in the world. Okay,
Oh,
now you're a lot younger than I am, but when I grew up, I used to play outside and drink water from a garden hose,
yeah.
and and what the bottled water industry did, they did a great half of an education, right? They showed us that the water source that we were so used to that was provided to our sinks is no longer
Good
safe to
enough.
drink.
Yeah.
PFAS chemicals, nanoplasties. I can go on and on and on. In our country, we put fluoride in our water, which it's a poison. Hello, what are we doing here? We want nice teeth, but so we'll poison you to make sure your smile's good. Okay, but so they educated us, and but they didn't do the total education, which was all they're doing is taking water from the tap, filtering it, and putting it in a plastic bottle that is now creating a second environmental catastrophe. And we now have studies over this past year of nanoplasties in babies. Okay, the
Oh,
mothers through the birth are passing nanoplasties to their babies. There's nanoplasties in our brain, in our testicles, in our it's just like if you can secure your own water source and it's pure because all you have to do is look at the water cycle, look what nature's been doing since the earth was created. Why wouldn't you do it? Why wouldn't you make sure that you have a secure water source? Because with boil alerts, with all of our delivery systems were our aqueducts were made centuries ago. So now think about this. You know, I just talked about the TDS going up because bacteria forming in machines. Well,
yeah.
90 years of an aquifer. I mean, you see this pipe. It's a 6-inch pipe. After about 50 years, it goes down to about a 3-inch pipe. That's all the bacteria. That's all the things. Now, how does our municipal dump a whole bunch of chlorine in there, and like you said, now your stomach, now you get diarrhea. Now you know the military with their chlorine tablets, and I understand you're out in the bush, you know, but chlorine has that adverse effect. Again, why wouldn't you do something with nature? Why
Yeah.
wouldn't you make sure that what you're putting into your body, and I think we're all starting to get an education on the things that we're eating and the things that we're drinking are not really the best for the body that God gave us.
Yeah, true. So now I think I have one question. Going from the way the machine works, the generators work, and everything. Like for instance, if my AC in this office is on, the air is humid at first. Then maybe after 3 4 hours, the air gets dry and cool. So there's not much
Right.
water vapor left in the air. So now let's say this altitude water, atmospheric water generators get popular and they take in the water from the air. Won't this lead to an issue where you have too little water in the air?
Right. No, so technically, you're exactly right. Working inside and how our machines work, and again, it's just like solar. You know how
Yeah.
much burning gas is going to create energy. A gallon of gas burning it. When you're dealing with nature, nature is unpredictable, as we all know. So, in a typical central air home, you're going
Hmm.
to have, whatever you set your thermostat at, but I think the average is around 74, 76 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's going to, with the system that they create, you're generally going to have about 45% relative humidity. So in that situation, you're going to create about 5.5 to 6 gallons in a 24-hour period
Mm.
with our machines. Now, again, those systems, as you're taking the water out, either you're going to have a dump from outside. I mean, they're designed to keep that air quality in your home at a certain. The system's never going to dry out. Our system's never going to dry it out. And then when the tank fills up, we have a 7 gallon tank in our home unit. It stops creating water. It just
Mm.
runs the purification every 20 minutes. So it's a great question. So the only difference is, like, I have my machine outside on my porch, because I provide water for all the people in the community. I want it outside. I let them come over and
Yeah.
take the water. But you put it in your house, it's just going to make a little less water. It's not going to dry. You're not going to
Mm.
start shocking people or anything like that. It's not going to go down to 20% relative humidity. Nature abhors a vacuum, and nature always replenishes itself. So if there's more humidity outside and less humidity inside, it is going to come in. Now, there are areas like you're in England, but in the United States, like Arizona, where there's not a lot of water. Or the other thing that I always say is if you have electric baseboard heat, our technology is not for you, because that dries out the air. So
Mm.
again, a rule of thumb is, if you can rub your feet on the carpet and shock someone, this technology is not going to work very well, because I can only take the water out that's in the air.
Yeah.
I leave it to God to create things. I just use what He gives us.
True. True. So what are you've been working on this for, I think I remember 15 years?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
My,
so what
my
are
my
the
team.
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You were going to say, so
Okay.
15.
Yes. No, no, so I think what are the most fascinating applications you've seen for the technology over this time?
The one, I mean, we've achieved so much. For the past decade, we have been providing water for Amy Grant's farm in Franklin, Tennessee, that has sulfur water, and she wanted to donate her farm to a a camp so kids could have, underprivileged kids could have summer camp. And she was required to have a gallon of water in order to get the permit a day per person. And
Wow.
it's 20 miles to the nearest store to pick up water to bring out there. So that was probably the first real big project that we did, and over a 10-year period now we were collecting rainwater. We're able to take the sulfur out of the well with our we've now put our purification in a box, so if people can't make the water, they can purify it using our patented purification process. But the thing that probably has been the biggest joy is our new disaster relief trailers.
Hmm.
Because number one, you talk about the green tech space. I wrote a blog about the perfect storm in this 15 years. One of the things that really has made our technology so pertinent and so important is the growth of alternate energy, of solar energy, and of being able to be efficient in capturing the energy from the sun. So our disaster relief trailer can make 210 gallons with our T100. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we can do, but the standard one can make about 210 gallons of water a day. Can purify up to 1,500 gallons. So if you have a municipal source that is not working because the hurricane or the flood or whatever, the municipal system isn't working, we've basically put a water purifying municipal system in that vehicle. And then as well, we have all of the energy, so you can charge your phone, you can charge various things in a disaster situation. And then we put Starlink on it with Elon Musk, because we saw at the Maui wildfires, all these cell phone and internet towers burnt down, and they're,
Yeah.
one of the problems is lack of communication. So you can go to our trailer, plug in your phone, get the purest water, get your phone on, go on to the internet, let your family know you're safe, or if you're
Wow.
separated from your family, tell them where you're at. And it's, to me, and I think people are starting to realizing it. It's transforming disaster relief, because the disaster relief industry is very much set in its ways. It's a very high carbon footprint industry, because you have people in need. You're not worrying about your carbon footprint, right? You're shipping in tons of bottled water, but the problem is if you can get the water there without creating another environmental hazard with all these plastic bottles. So, just imagine the truckloads of cases of water coming in. Those plastic bottles stay there. And,
Yeah.
so now you're creating a second, now you're having nanoplastics. Now you're inundating your water source for years to come. Maybe not so much for you, but for your children. And I think, we go by the proverb, you don't inherit the planet from your grandparents. You're a holder and a keeper of it for your grandkids, right? So
Yeah.
we absolutely believe it's one of the things that was a vision 10, 12 years ago. It was something that really the alternate energy and integrating and also using technologies that we use to bring our electrical draw down. So over those 10 years, even though it was a vision 10 years ago, it wasn't something that we could do. But we now have three of them, two in Maui, one in South Florida, and have had a whole bunch of meetings with a lot of different companies that are like, wow, this makes sense. I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah. So that's probably the thing I'm most proud of. We also just came out with two new products with purification, being able to do larger numbers, not having to rely on water in the air with purification boxes that one of the things that I was going to say, I've been doing this for 15 years, but it's not me, it's my team.
Yeah.
Albert Silva. I just talked about uh, one of my guys going over to Maka, Jamie Ditzler. They've been building machines with me for 15 years. So
Yeah.
while I get to sit here and have people look at me talk about it, it's not me. As I'm sitting here talking about it, there are guys grinding in the factory. There are guys on planes going over to countries to be out in the bush for 3 weeks, I'm sorry, 3 days to a week, getting whether getting electric and water to an area that had none of it. That you had to go to the river now. That the women walked 4.3 kilometers to go get
Yeah.
dirty water. The village that we're doing, it was funded by L'Oreal, a Women's Sustainability Fund. It's a $1 million project, and it's not just another thing I'm most proud of is everything we do is with programs. There's a difference between just giving someone water, and there's putting in a program. We go by the mantra: if someone's hungry, you give them a fish to eat for a day. If you teach them to
Yeah.
fish, a lifetime, right? So
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
the building that holds our atmospheric water generators, and obviously the security. You have this machine that makes water. You have to make sure it's secure, but that building is also an educational hub. Now we put, because of the electricity, we now put internet and allow them to have online schooling. We now take the women who now have 4 more hours in their day because they're not going down to the river to learn skills, beading and different things and different cultural things.
Yeah.
So that's probably, I could speak forever on it, as you could tell, but there's been a lot of things that because of my team and because of the people who have shared a common vision, that have really transformed people's lives. And there's, I could sell $1 million worth of product. There's no better feeling than a kid coming up and telling you, thank you so much because my brother died of a water related disease, and thank you for bringing us pure water. There's no better feeling than that.
Yeah.
And my investors and shareholders probably wouldn't feel the same way. They want me to make a profit, but I honestly, that's what keeps me going to grind out, because it's, you have, the reason you have this podcast is because you want to educate people that there is a better way to do these things, right? That they're
Yes.
stop going by the standard operating procedure. Stop going by this. We only have one planet, okay? No matter what, if Elon Musk tries to get us to Mars, okay, that would be great. But right now, we only have one planet.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that it's there for our grandkids.
True. Okay, so now there's I think you mentioned the disaster relief truck being able to produce about 210 gallons of water every day. I think
Yeah.
that brings the next question. So how is this powered? What sort of energy does it consume to produce that amount of water?
Okay. So the trailer is totally solar. If you look at the trailer, we have so you drive down the road, you get there, you have solar wings that come up
Oh.
and capture the sunlight. All the trailer is covered in solar, and then we have 12 ground panels that we put out. So, and then in that trailer, we have 60 kilowatts of battery storage in that trailer.
Wow.
So if everything's running full bore, with our machines to make the 210 gallons, to purify the 1,500 gallons, and to run the Starlink, we're going to use about 5.4 kilowatts an hour. With our solar panels on a sunny day, we're able to generate about 12.2 kilowatts.
Hmm.
So we're basically going to have about 6.4 kilowatts per hour going into our battery
Battery.
storage. So,
Yeah.
so the way that we've developed it is, and again, on a sunny day. Now we do one of the great things in realizing that each disaster is different, and realizing that you're dealing with nature. I think one of the biggest things that we all have an issue with, like I was saying before, is nature's unpredictable. I was talking to our solar guy, and his place is totally off grid, and he's like, "Well, but Jeff, it took me about 6 to 9 years to understand all the nuances of it,
Yeah.
and the different." He said, "I slept in really cold days, at night, because it is a learning process. But again, I go by the mantra: if it was easy, everyone would be doing it, and the things that are worthwhile take effort. So if you want an easy way, go fill up a 5 gallon thing of diesel fuel, and you'll know how much energy you're going to get. In that, we have three ways to charge the battery on the trailer. We have the solar input from the 12 ground panels and all the panels on the trailer that will create 12 kilowatts of energy. You can fire up the generator and charge it that way as well. So say you're in a disaster situation and it's cloudy for 3 days, you're able to charge everything on, and again, it's a 15 kilowatt an hour generator. So we would be able to run the machines and store it on the battery as well. Or you can even plug into a municipal source. So
Hmm.
you can plug into the grid. So we give three different options on that trailer of how to charge the 60 kilowatts of battery storage we have. So again, the flexibility and learning this, and that's again not easy. That's 15 years, or really 10 years of focused on disaster relief industry, and being a part of all those things, and none of this is easy. To say that all of it was without mistakes. We learn from our mistakes. We say that no one builds the better atmospheric water generators because no one has made more mistakes than we have, right? But you learn
Yeah.
from any company in green tech or anything like that. What is it? The great philosopher Mike Tyson says everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. Well, everyone gets punched in the face every now and then. What are you going to do? Are you going to get up, dust yourself off, and say, okay, I learned from that, and next time I'm going to put my guard up there?
Yeah.
Elon Musk, when solar really took off, was when Maria devastated Puerto Rico, and he was able to send his solar to a children's hospital to make sure the kids were okay. And there was big stories. Well, what no one really knows as well is that Elon Musk tried to go and totally green one of the islands off of Puerto Rico. And what he found out was putting his technology in there in an antiquated delivery system wasn't going to work. So
Yeah.
but again, what did he do? He said, okay, let me change some of the things I'm doing on my Tesla walls, and let me change some of the things that I'm doing in order to make it more efficient and more effective. So, in green tech, you gotta. We talk about sustainability. I love talking about resiliency. because we're gonna get knocked down. We're gonna have to learn different things. We're dealing with nature, which is unpredictable. So how do you solve those issues that you never saw before? That's the key to being able to endure and to be able to make a better product, which is what we continue to do at Altitude Water.
Amazing. I think 60 kilowatts of battery is actually really huge, really
It is.
huge.
Yeah, no, seriously. I mean, we can do phone, we can do so much stuff. So in Asheville, you know, you talk about a perfect example of what I just discussed. A hurricane in Asheville in the mountains? Are you kidding me? And again, so what we saw here was roads are built in the mountains. What do they follow? They follow rivers
Mm.
because nature has cleared this pathway. Water goes through the easiest route. Okay. So all the roads basically follow rivers. So when you have all this flooding, it wiped out roads, it isolated people.
Oh.
So you know, when Helene first struck, it was great for water making, the temperatures. But as it got 2 months later, it started snowing. Humidity levels went down. Our water making wasn't the main reason for that trailer up there. It was the power. It was the power and the communications where they can take
Mm.
this to isolated places and not have generators and having to get gas to all these people. So, you know, again, that who would have thought? And what's happening up there? I mean, it's apocalyptic. My heart goes out to all the people up there, but it serves as an example of being able to be resilient. And so even though we're a water making company, we love our technology. I even called up the nonprofits. I'm like, listen, I see it's going to snow up there. Maybe I should take the trailer back. And they're like, Jeff, no, it's we need the power, we need the communications. And I was like, okay, I built this thing to showcase our water technology, but
Yeah.
there you go. When people are in need, you sort of put that aside and say, do the right thing because we serve someone who's going to make sure that if you do the right thing, that the blessings will come with whatever way that they come. So, uh, that's what you were saying. You're right. 60 kilowatts of battery storage is huge
Yeah.
in a disaster situation. So, and think of it. So I just told you all those things. That's in a 12-foot long trailer, 9 feet high. That's what we were
Wow.
able to, and 9 and 3/4 feet wide. We were able to put 60 kilowatts of battery
Wow.
storage, 500 gallons of water storage, and panels, and Starlink on that trailer. So we have the technology. It's scalable. We can meet anyone's needs. Military, villages. So that's where we're going. Those are the things that I'm most proud of. And again, those are the things that I'm most proud of our team because we all have different gifts, right? My
Yeah.
my friends growing up in high school are like, you run a manufacturing company. I remember how to teach you how to use a screwdriver. I'm like, no, I got the guys that know how to do that. I just do what I do. They do what they do, and together we make an incredibly powerful team.
Okay. So now most entrepreneurs who go into this green tech space want to create social impact. And like you mentioned, their investors want profits too while they are creating the social impact. So what advice would you give to other green tech entrepreneurs, either in the space or wanting to get in the space and who want to do what you're doing, creating profit and also impact socially, making lives of people easy, especially like you do in the disaster areas and the like?
I mean, that is such a great question. It really is, because no matter what, nothing continues without profits. If someone's not making, we I can talk all day long about how good it feels to see a kid come to me and say, but if I'm not making a profit and I can't pay my guys, as much as my guys love me, if that check isn't there, okay, I don't have my team. So, those feel good things don't put food on the table, right? So it is so important. And I think that number one, I would encourage all of these companies that are making a profit to invest in these spaces. Do your due diligence. You know, you got to leave a legacy. You got to do something. You can have all the money in the world, but you know what? I've never seen a funeral with a U-Haul on the back of the hearse, because you can't take it with you. I just did a podcast, Your Life, Your Legacy, from talking about family trusts and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
so number one, I would encourage those feel good stories, and not only that, it's good business. For these companies, like I just mentioned, L'Oreal Women Sustainability Fund, right? So they take some of their profits and they put it in a fund to help what? Women, who's their consumer. Okay. So you're I can't do good if I'm not doing well. So what we're trying to encourage is these partnerships, and so it's getting out in the space. Don't have those blinders on where you're just grinding every day in your company. Getting around like-minded people, getting into the investor conferences, getting into different family offices that want to have that legacy is so important. Who's your audience? Again, you got to be around like-minded people. For me to go to a Nestle or a Coke that's making tons of money on their bottled water, they're not going to want to talk to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Uh, but there are so many people that are starting to realize that where the joy comes from. And again, so where this disaster relief trailer, we're pitching to other companies in the community, like a Dillard's, like a McDonald's and stuff like that. Now it's not only that you're providing for your community, and your community, when they see that, are now going to go to you. If they're going to have a decision about where am I going to eat, oh man, McDonald's, I saw the disaster relief trailer out there that was providing, well, I'm going to go there. Okay.
Yeah.
People have to start realizing that when it does come back, there's a reason for it. So or like Dillard's was saying, when we started talking with them, and one of my team members is a manager there, and she was talking to him. She's like, they were like, well, we have a store up in Nashville, and yeah, if we put this trailer out there and people could come to the store and get water and communication and electricity, when things get back to normal, where are they going to go shop for Christmas to buy their gifts for their kids?
Yeah.
They're going to go to Dillard's. Not this trailer is not. I just said it's a 9 by 12 billboard that tells the community you're the one providing in their time of need. Okay,
Yes.
so you've got so this isn't the way that we used to do business. We have to bring these for profit these companies who are doing very, very well, and say you can even do better by doing this. You can feel good about what you're doing, but also be saying to your community, what's one of the biggest things, and even in England, where you're at, community is lost nowadays, isn't it? I mean, these times of everyone's so focused on what they have to do. So these these things, we have to come together as a community. If you take the value of community out of people's hearts, what is there to fight for? You know, what is there to protect? What so again, I mean, these are fundamental foundational things that just like I'm sitting here saying we got to get back to nature, we got to
Yeah.
get back to not only wearing looking out for number one, which is a best-selling book, but I really believe the more that we come together, the better off we're gonna be as a race. I mean, it's just, you know, I'll get off of my soapbox, but you know, I absolutely truly believe it. It's what, and this isn't easy. You know, to sit here and you know to say that raising it is a beast. It's very very difficult to convince people of a new way,
Yeah.
but I think after what we've been through with COVID and being isolated, I think we all realize that we all need each other, and that, you know, so I went a little bit on the soapbox, but get around like-minded people that have, you know, if you go and see that your foundational beliefs don't align, don't waste your time on that. There's another door that's going to be opened out there. Don't
Yeah.
just because that family office has money to invest, if they don't believe in the foundational things that you're giving, if they just want oil, they want the easiest, quickest, move on. You know, don't just keep grinding. You know, it's what's the definition of insanity? Is keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different
Expecting
results.
different results.
So you know, that would be, and I've had to beat myself in the head and say, no, you know, just pass on this, move on to this next thing that you know is out there for me. Trust your instincts, you know, and it's one of the things that has really helped me over the past 2 years is taking that time alone to think about things and to think things through. Whether you're a faith based person or not, you know, I pray, but even if you're not, just take the time to be quiet and to be still and think things through, because you know, something deep in your gut is usually going to be right. You know, we overthink things too much. So you know, again, I apologize if I got on a soapbox on that, but it's it's a really good question. It's my biggest battle, without
Yeah.
question. Um, you know, and get out there on the social medias. It's a very cost effective way of getting your story out there. Find great podcasts like your podcast, the Green Tech, uh, where people are educating. You know, you're trying to get the pulse of this industry out to the people. You know, I really appreciate that you do this, and you know, education is the key to anything, right? Ignorance is bliss, but you don't get a lot of benefits from that. So
Yeah.
that would be my not so short answer.
Yeah. Okay. So for listeners who have heard about your products, your atmospheric water generators, and everything, and are interested in supporting the project, maybe using it in a location or learning more about the project than we've talked about so far, what's the best way they can reach you? What's the best way they can connect with you?
So we're in the midst of upgrading our website, really explaining the technology, really going to. So that is altdwater.com. Uh, you know, even if it's not something that you're ready to purchase right now, I would just encourage, signing up to our newsletter and stuff like that, because again, education is key. We talk about a lot of different things. We do have some solar generators on there as well with our strategic partners, and I'll just go back, building strategic partners, and our new use energy is been awesome in building our trailers, and the nonprofits, footprintproject.org, grassroots aid partnership, who just transform lives in Asheville. Again, surround yourselves with those people. So I didn't get into that. So
Yeah.
altdwater.com, sign up. We're on all the social medias, Altitude Water. And again, if you're not in a position to purchase a machine, so important. It takes you 2 seconds to click follow or to
Mm.
quick. So I would love everyone that listens to this, just go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, because those algorithms are all based upon who's saying that they like it. So
Yeah.
you would do us a huge, if you want us to keep trying to do well, just like us. Just take a second to click, and follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, follow us on X, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have a lot of fun. There's a lot of great projects that we do. So if you believe in this industry, take a second to like the companies that you think are making a transformative difference in this world. It's as simple as that. So by 100 people liking my YouTube, it's going to get, when we post the video, it's going to get it to a whole bunch of different people that would have never, if I didn't have those 100 subscribers,
Yeah.
that additional 100 subscribers. So please, just those are the simple things that people can do. Get a reusable bottle. Get drink out of glass instead of plastic. Just if you believe it in your heart, take some actions to do it. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying you have to buy a machine. I would love you to, but if you can't, I understand that. Do these little things. Follow your podcast. You educate. You spend the time. I'm not paying you to be on here, so you're investing your time in letting people know that there's a better way. So they should like your podcast. They should follow your podcast.
Thank you. So I think altdwater.com, YouTube, Twitter, X, sorry.
No, I still call it Twitter too. I can't get used to calling it X. I'm surprised I actually said that this time. I don't know what Elon was thinking on that one, but
Okay, so on all platforms, the links will be in the show notes, the links will be on the screen. So I've actually learned so much from this episode, and I think that's my goal from this, learning more about the green tech, because it has it really helped me. Currently I've been using solar for about 3 years, and it's blown my mind. Like everybody, my
right.
mom, everybody around me, I've been forcing them to join me.
But how do you feel being sustainable, not having to rely? I mean, again, education. You look at when rebels want to do civil unrest. What do they knock out? They knock out your electricity.
Yeah,
They knock out your water, because people are paralyzed. You, it, it goes out. You see everyone dark around you. Your lights are on. Being able to be sustainable and resilient is an incredibly empowering feeling.
yeah. It is. So, for the listeners, thank you so much for being with us so far. And thank you so much for sharing your technology, sharing your insight, sharing your wisdom and your time with us today.
Peter, it's an honor and a pleasure, and keep doing what you're doing. We need more people like you in this in this sector to educate people what it's all about. So thank you so much, and thank you for allowing us to share our thoughts.
Thank you. So, till next week when we're out with a new episode, go through the old episodes and bye for now.